Hey there, YouTubers. All right, so we're going to take a closer look at the MSI GeForce RTX 3080. I've done a couple of these videos and had some issues with sound, so hopefully this one will work out right. So this is just going to discuss what we can find online about it, and I'm going to go through some pictures. So if you're looking for hands-on, you're going to have to wait till able to purchase one of these. Hopefully I can get one of these in a little while here. So let's get into it. So obviously RTX 3080, second gen ray tracing, so it's going to be even better. This has the GDDR6X RAM in it and 10 gigs of it. PCI Express 4.0. So question for all of you, is, hey, will this work with the Z490s, the X570s? I'm going to say yes. At least my Z490 is supposed to have PCI Express 4.0 in it, and maybe there'll be a BIOS update, maybe not. It doesn't look like the latest BIOS update has added anything. Other than that, I would think these will work in your Z370s, Z390s. Of course, you're probably going to need a kick butt CPU like an i7-9700K or an i9-9900K. Otherwise you're probably going to see some CPU bottlenecking, okay? So other things you're going to need for this, most likely, you're going to need possibly some new HDMI cables. This supports HDMI 2.1, DisplayPort 1.4a, all right? So now whether you need those right off the bat is another story. If you're not doing 8K, maybe you don't need it. If you're not doing 4K 120 hertz, maybe you don't need it. These are all things, there's a lot of questions out there until some of us get this gear in, us experts, to actually do stuff with it, You got these other guys, the big shots, that basically have gotten the gear and been told not to do anything with it, which is unfortunate. They really haven't, added much in their unboxings. It's been a little disappointing. It is good to see the stuff in 3D. But other than that, not that much information gained. So here's some of the pictures. This is obviously a triple fan, and these appear to be all the same size. Some of the 3080s have two size fans in them, but these look pretty similar. It looks like your standard graphics card, right? Now what this one probably does not show is, let's see if there's a good side view. Yeah, here you go. So you've got 3 display ports, 1 HDMI. If you need more than 1 HDMI, check out the Gigabyte RTX 3080s. There's one model that has 2 and or 2 models that have 2 of these HDMIs and 2 models that have 3. So it looks like you could run 3 displays with HDMI, 3 with DisplayPort, or this will support 4 displays, so potentially, you could fill all of the display ports in one HDMI, or all the display ports, or all the HDMIs in one display port. But in this guy, you need 3 display ports and 1 HDMI. All right, so you can see 2 expansion slots, and then you see how much this hangs over. They have a tendency to say, oh, it's 2.5. This is, might as well be 3. It depends what's on your motherboard, whether this is really a problem. Most likely it will be, as far as one of the smaller PCI Expresses, okay? So keep that in mind. And that's, basically what I said there. Another view with the packaging. So, they tell you a little, obviously throw some photos in the cheap Newegg way. Now, if we go to the website, let's check out what is actually here, okay? So, obviously RGB. So this one's going to look pretty good. I usually buy, honestly, the cheapest graphics card of each class, just because, this is a low-budget channel. My other channel is low budget too, but together, hopefully when we'll be cranking some money and we will start buying some of the better gear. So look at that. There is something a little different here. Tough enough to back you up. do they even talk about that? Your support, a bundle support bracket can be attached to your PC case for additional graphics card reinforcement. So this freaking thing is so big, it has a additional support bracket. This is the only one of these I've seen that has that, and they don't really show you how it attaches the graphics card. It's just going to take up another slot in your card. And do you see that motherboard? So this motherboard has three. Looks like 3 PCI Express times 16s, and so you can't use that one. You'll have to use the one at the very bottom. And obviously, you know, in this case, you're not going to be running SLI because only the 3090 does that. You could use that slot for, let's see, a Wi-Fi card, but not really. It's not good to put it right up against the fans. So really, having that motherboard is not going to be useful for you. Okay, so things to take away from this that the big boys, you know, don't tell you, because you know, really, I'm not sure most of those guys are really experts on everything. But check your motherboard. You may need to get a different motherboard. This graphics card could really change things for you based on your current setup. So instead of having that expansion card for Wi-Fi, you may, you know, if you've got the little M.2 for Wi-Fi, you might want to go that route. Okay, lots of things to, you know, be concerned about with this. All right, so this would appear to be your RGB Control Center, standard stuff. Looks like it controls probably the motherboard, the items plugged into the motherboard if you happen to have MSI. Probably compatible with some other brands, but definitely, you know, this will control MSI. Probably a CPU fan if you've got that. All right, so some other information. There's, you know, the boost clock. So I think we're seeing the same boost clock across all of these. So you can't necessarily go, oh, this one's 1800. I'm going to buy that. All right, so they shouldn't have any awards. So that was the overview. Let's check out the specifications. See if we missed anything, which we did. We didn't talk about the power supply connector, right? The GPU connector. All right, so here's some of the other stuff. CUDA cores, every one of them seems to be 8704. Boost, memory speed, all the same. Memory bus, 320. Power consumption, so 340 on this. I think the other ones said 350, but recommended power supply 750. Do you necessarily need 750? You know, if you're going to pair this with a locked CPU, I'm going to bet you don't need 750 watts, okay? You know, this is probably not in the PSU calculators, but the other thing is, you know, let's say you have 10th gen Intel, okay, like I do. I've got 6 or 7 of them, plus got about a dozen motherboards here. So that said, you've got 10th gen Intel, and depending on which CPU you have, you may go with changing your power limits, and you may set those to unlimited. Some of the motherboards you might be stuck with the value, the default, right? So even a Z490M ITX AC does not appear to allow you to change that. Some of the B460s allow you to change it. The ASRock Z490 I have and the Gigabyte Z490 allow you to change the power limits. Now that obviously allows you know, for quite a bit more power out of your PSU, and in that case, you know, having that 65 watt CPU, yeah, the 750, I would say, yeah, that's recommended. You know, until I really start messing around with this, you know, you just don't know, and it all depends on what peripherals you have, how many lights, fans, drives, so all that stuff adds up. All right, here's the size. Of course, these guys did not put it in. They did not put it in inches, which, you know, it's like, what good is that, right? How does that help us? So let's look up how long the graphics card is in inches. And the other ones we don't really care about. All right, 12 point, wow, this is a big card, folks, 12.71. So this is the biggest card I've seen out of the ones. I've seen 12, I've seen 12 and a half, now we've got 12 and 3/4 basically. So DirectX, this is the new 12. I don't think this is the ultimate, but it's a new one. Pretty heavy card there. 2.3 kilograms. Okay, so if you multiply that by 2.2, that's almost 5 pounds, right? So let's do that too. £5, yeah. So it's a heavy card. Might not be traveling with this one. So there you saw the maximum display is 4. This is 8K, okay, in case you don't know. It doesn't, this site's a little weak because they don't tell you, hey, this is going to be 60 hertz. They don't mention the 4K. 4K is probably 120 hertz. Some additional photos. So where Newegg was weak with the photos, let's see if these guys did a better job. And it does not appear, unless some more photos are going to pop up. They did a lousy job too, right? You can't even see the connectors. Now, did we even note how many connectors? 8 pin by 3. Okay, so this is a 1 by 8 and you need 3 of them. So what does that tell you? All right, be careful about which power supply you buy. If you buy just a standard cheap EVGA 750 watt, you're only going to end up with most likely 2 1 by 8s. All right, you're going to need to jump up to something like a EVGA 750 BQ or the 850 BQ or some of those monster 1,000 or 1,200 watt ones that have the dual rails. All right, so case in point, my EVGA 850 BQ. Let's go ahead and pull that up. Not like you guys got anything else going on, right? Actually, you know what stinks? The second I pull this up, it's going to time out on me. I have to be careful which numbers I type because for OBS they're my shortcut keys. All right, so here we go. Actually, this is probably all I need if this photo goes with it. So these are, if it's even going to show it, won't let me pull it up. So these are the additional accessories. Well, there's a 24 pin connector, CPU. All right, maybe this is not the right one, folks. Sorry. It is the right power supply. It's just not the right picture. I just want to show you this because, you know, if you don't buy the right power supply, you're going to regret it. Or if you don't have the right power supply. So let's look at this angle. So one of these guys here, okay, coming off here is going to be your 24 pin. One is going to be your, let me just double check because I'm looking at it, CPU. So 2 1x4s for CPU power. And then the other is 2 1x8s for graphics. Well, look at how many GPU power connectors you have here in addition, okay? You've got an additional 1x8 and even an additional one of that. So with this graphics card, you could not run 2 of these if you wanted to with this power supply. But you would be able to run, you will be able to run this graphics card, okay, and some of the other RTX 3080s. If for whatever reason you wanted to run 2, once again, it doesn't do SLI, so I don't know why you would do it. Let me just make sure we're still recording, folks. Yeah, we are. Good. All right, so where do we leave off at? Hopefully you guys are getting something out of this, you know. This is what I meant to do with my other videos, and there was no sound. But, you know, I've bought a lot of gaming cards. Now let's look at support. So Here's the thing here. Drivers. They haven't put out the drivers. Okay. Utilities. Let's see what we have for utilities. So MSI Afterburner, MSI Dragon Center, live update. Okay, so all the peripheral stuff. Nothing need. Quick guide in here. Oh yeah. User guide, folks. Let's check out the user guide. Is it going to come up? There we go. So hopefully if you're still watching this, please give it a like. The other one's got a lot of dislikes because no sound, but you know, hey, it's the way crap goes sometimes. Wow, this is a crappy guide. I mean, you have to zoom in like this, people, seriously? Deducting a point. Yeah, this is terrible. This is something you expect from some of that cheap Chinese crap I buy. Not a professional company like this. What is it? That one guy's channel. He's been ripping on MSI. And hey, I'm gonna join the party with this. Now, you know, MSI has never offered to give me any products for a good review, which is sad because I don't know if I would or not, folks. Just kidding. Please send me your stuff, MSI. I'll take it. All right, so let's read through this. This is important stuff, okay? You guys may have overlooked that. This is why you're actually going, yeah, maybe it wasn't such a bad idea to look at this guy's thing, because guess what? I would have never saw this. So here's what's in the thing. Graphics card, user manual, or quick guide. What about an installation disk, folks? Not here. So if you get this early, you can't even frickin' get it running, right? Because there's no drivers available. PCI Express compliant motherboard. Here you go. PCI Express compliant motherboard with one dual width times 16 graphics slot. Doesn't say 3.0 works. Doesn't say 4.0. That's just crap. Why are these guys not putting this stuff in here? Obviously, you need at least one monitor, 1.5 gigs available hard disk space. So that's going to be most likely for the driver. You'll need a Phillips head screwdriver for installation, unless you're like me and you just put it in the test bench and never bolt down to anything. Turn off the computer and unplug the power, blah, blah, blah. All right, position the graphics card directly over the empty PCI slot and press one end of the card. So I would say this would be, if you had an armored one, definitely put it in that one, right? Because this thing's going to be freaking heavy, and you know, you don't want to break that cheap plastic on the other one. Use the armored one. And plus, that's the one you're supposed to use anyways for your main graphics card. All right, so if you need it, connect any supplementary PCI Express 6 to 8 pin power connector. So they will include a 6-pin to 8-pin. And I find this, you know, honestly crazy. You know, who has... you would need 2 6s. It's basically 2 6s to 1 8-pin. And... yeah, what graphics card? The graphics card, excuse me, power supply is either going to have, you know, pretty sure 1/8, or 1/8 that splits into 1/6 and a 2, right? Where you wouldn't use the 2. You would have, I think I have some that are 8 and 6, and then 8 and 8, right? So when do you just have 6 and 6 and another set of 6 and 6? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I'm not sure. You know, this is one of those places where maybe I actually am not as good on computers as I think I am. All right, so turn on your computer, click support to see the overview of the drivers. Choose operating system, download the driver, Dragon Center. So they want you to basically go to support and get your driver, all right? So you found that out for me first, folks. If you were going to buy this. Now, I don't even know where this thing is anymore. Oh, here we are. So that's what we got out of that. And that was the, which one? Now, this is the user guide. Let's open that up. Hopefully this is better, because that was terrible. Nope, same one. Did I open the same one, folks? Did you see me? What did I do? Quick guide. Come on. Is this the same guide? It's going to be the same guide, I have a feeling. Now, how to upgrade your PC with a new graphics card. Okay. Let's see. What do we have here? 16 pages long. And I am in this hotel, and the internet is so slow. La la la. Wow, look at these beautiful graphics. This is cheese. So do they tell you to hit the power after you turn off the PSU? They don't bother to tell you to hit the power button to get all the extra juice out of it. Because there is some power stored. Alright, so they have little instructions here. If your new graphics card doesn't have any power connections, it will get all the power it needs from the motherboard. How was that? Interesting. I don't know what they're talking about, folks. Well, that's going to do it for this video, folks. Interesting stuff here by MSI. But this is, if you look at all the other ones, this is one of the best ones. Crazy it seems. Thanks for checking out the video. Please like, please subscribe.